Imagine a world drowned in water, where every mountain, every city, every life was swept away, and only one family survived. The story of Noah and the flood has haunted humanity for millennia. But what if the truth is far stranger and far more controversial than anyone dared to imagine? Today we explore why this ancient story still divides scholars, scientists, and believers. Could the flood be literal, symbolic, or is it a warning we still don't fully understand? The story of the flood is one of the most famous tales in the Bible, yet it is also one of the most debated. Across cultures, from Sumeria to China, legends of massive floods exist. Geologists question whether water could ever cover the entire Earth. Theologians argue over symbolism versus history, and for centuries humans have asked, did it really happen? Or is it a message hidden in allegory, waiting for us to discover? In this video, we'll dive deep into the flood's mysteries, uncovering why it remains controversial today, from scientific evidence to ancient myths, and the hidden lessons that could still resonate with us now. The Bible describes a world corrupted, where human wickedness reached its peak. God decides to cleanse the earth with a flood, sparing only Noah, his family, and the animals aboard the ark. But was it a literal deluge covering every mountain, or a story meant to teach morality, faith, and obedience? The ark itself, a massive vessel built according to divine instruction, has become a symbol of salvation. Yet scholars argue about its feasibility. The question remains, can we believe in the literal flood, or is its power in the symbolism? Modern science has long questioned the feasibility of a global flood. Geologists point out that the Earth's mountains could not have been submerged entirely, and there is no consistent layer of sediment worldwide to support a literal deluge. Fossils, rock formations, and ice core data show no evidence of water covering the planet at once. Yet some researchers suggest that massive regional floods could have inspired the biblical story. Catastrophic events like the Black Sea flood or massive Mesopotamian river floods may have left lasting impressions on early civilizations. The tension between faith and science is profound. Can we reconcile divine narratives with geological evidence? Skeptics insist the flood is a myth, while believers argue that the absence of scientific proof does not diminish the spiritual or moral truth of the story. This contradiction fuels centuries of debate and keeps the flood alive in both scholarly and popular imagination. Remarkably, nearly every ancient culture has its own flood story. In Sumerian texts, Utnapishtim survives a great flood with his family and animals, mirroring Noah's Ark almost word for word. The Greeks recount Deucalion and Pyrrha, who repopulated the earth after a cataclysmic flood. In Chinese legends, Yu the Great controls waters after a devastating flood. Why do these stories recur across continents and civilizations? Some scholars suggest shared human experiences of localized flooding, passed down and embellished through generations. Others see a collective memory of divine punishment embedded in myth. These similarities raise fascinating questions. Was there a common origin, or did humans independently interpret massive floods as divine warnings? The global echo of these myths gives the flood story an almost universal resonance, showing that the theme of destruction and renewal touches the human psyche across time and space. The flood has sparked fierce debate among theologians, historians, and believers. Literalists insist the flood happened exactly as written: water covering all land, Noah building an enormous ark, and all life outside being destroyed. This view emphasizes God's justice and power, portraying a divine reset of creation. Symbolic interpreters argue that the flood is metaphor for human morality and spiritual cleansing. They suggest it may reflect real, regional floods magnified into divine narrative, teaching lessons about obedience, faith, and renewal. Some even see the story as a universal allegory. Humanity often faces overwhelming consequences for its own corruption, yet redemption remains possible for the faithful. The debate is not merely academic. It challenges us to ask, do we value the story for historical accuracy or for the timeless wisdom it conveys? Noah's character is central to understanding the flood's message. Described as righteous and obedient, he stands alone amid a world consumed by corruption. His unwavering faith made him worthy of divine protection, yet he faced ridicule, disbelief, and the monumental task of building the ark. Some scholars question whether Noah was historical or symbolic, yet his story transcends doubt. It embodies the power of moral integrity, resilience, and trust in God. Noah's journey is not only about survival amid water, but about moral courage in a world descending into chaos. For modern audiences, he serves as a reminder that even one individual's faith and action can alter the course of history. The ark is more than a boat. It is a symbol of divine salvation and human obedience. Its design, as detailed in the Bible, is practical yet monumental, able to carry hundreds of animals and endure catastrophic storms. Archaeologists have searched mountains in Turkey and the Middle East for evidence, yet definitive proof remains elusive. The Ark teaches us about preparation, faith, and trust in divine guidance. Whether historical or symbolic, it embodies hope amid disaster, and its story reminds us that in the midst of life's storms, there is a path to safety for those who act with faith. The Ark's story resonates not only as a historical account, but as a moral allegory. Salvation requires both divine instruction and human effort. One of the most debated aspects of the flood is whether it was truly global or limited to a specific region. Ancient texts often describe all the earth being flooded, yet geological evidence suggests regional floods of epic proportions could have inspired the narrative. Some propose the Mesopotamian floodplain or the Black Sea deluge as likely locations. The global interpretation emphasizes God's universal judgment, while the regional perspective highlights the story's symbolic and historical context. Both approaches provoke reflection. Whether the flood covered the entire planet or just a part of it, the narrative warns humanity about moral corruption, environmental disaster, and divine accountability. The debate remains unresolved, but it deepens the story's allure, inviting scholars, believers, and skeptics to ponder its true meaning. Archaeological studies have uncovered remnants of ancient settlements abruptly abandoned or buried under flood sediments. Some cite these as possible evidence of historical floods, while others insist they reflect normal natural cycles rather than divine judgment. Satellite imagery and geological surveys hint at massive ancient flooding in Mesopotamia and nearby regions, yet they cannot confirm a global event. Interestingly, these discoveries often mirror biblical descriptions in astonishing detail. The sudden destruction, the preservation of life, and the aftermath of a cleansed world. While skeptics remain unconvinced, believers find reassurance that the narrative contains kernels of historical truth intertwined with moral and spiritual lessons. The flood's mystery persists, reminding humanity that some truths may transcend empirical evidence, residing instead in faith, memory, and moral reflection. Whether literal or symbolic, the flood carries profound spiritual lessons. It warns of human arrogance, the consequences of corruption, and the power of obedience and faith. It also offers hope. Even in overwhelming disaster, salvation is possible through righteousness and divine guidance. For modern viewers, the flood reminds us that moral decay has consequences, yet redemption is always within reach. The story of the flood continues to resonate because the human condition hasn't changed. Corruption, greed, and environmental disasters mirror the ancient warnings. By studying the flood, its history, myths, and symbolism, we gain insight into our world and ourselves. Perhaps the story's true controversy lies not in its historical accuracy, but but in the uncomfortable truths it exposes about humanity. If this exploration of the flood challenged your understanding, subscribe and hit the notification bell to uncover more biblical mysteries, ancient secrets, and spiritual revelations. Share your thoughts. Do you believe the flood was literal, symbolic, or something in between? The waters of the flood may have receded thousands of years ago, but the questions it raises are still rising. Are we listening to the warnings of the past, or doomed to repeat the same mistakes? The story of the flood isn't just history. It's a mirror reflecting humanity, morality, and the choices that define our destiny.